thousands murdered by Islamists, priests beheaded, children run over while watching fireworks displays. And the state-run media tells the public it's not Islamic. For more than 1,000 years, Europe has battled Islamic invasions. But in the 21st century, Europe and the rest of the Western world faces a new type of war. Powerful central banks, the United Nations, the military-industrial complex, combining forces with jihadist Islam to finally bring down Europe. We are witnessing World War III. It doesn't look like past wars. It's a stealth war conducted by traitors from within. More times than I can even remember, I'll be on an international television program or a local radio show or sitting down to do a magazine interview, and the reporter will look at me and say, "Oh, if there's this big secret world government, where is it? Tell us who runs it." And I look at him and I say, it's not secret who runs the TPP. It's not secret who runs the IMF and World Bank. It's not secret who runs the UN. It's the programs and operations of these institutions that are secret, quasi-secret, and that claim diplomatic immunity or state immunity. In modern parlance, this is the new royalty. Every time you get to the bottom of who is funding, disarming populations around the world, it's Goldman Sachs. Every time you get to the bottom of who's opening up borders and destroying sovereignty, it's Goldman Sachs. Every time you find out who's financing all this anti-family, anti-fatherhood propaganda, it's Goldman Sachs, followed by JP Morgan and others behind him. And so it's not any surprise that the head of the UN migrant program, who was the founder of the European Union, but now who runs the immigration, the invasion of third world populations, it wasn't any surprise that Peter Sutherland, the chairman of Goldman Sachs globally, openly said that he wants to use third world populations to undermine national homogeneity. And it doesn't stop there with Goldman Sachs. They have been installing their former vice presidents and directors as the presidents and prime ministers of places like Greece and Italy. And they call it technocracy, not dictatorship. Goldman Sachs is literally the devil. It is the top of the pyramid. It is the scourge. It's like the Nazis we fought in World War II. It is the progenitor of all of the crises we face coming out of the New World Order. But the anti-white racist garbage is only the cover. The elite want to destroy the free market system and the basic freedoms and liberties that the West has promoted. That's why it's been allied with Orthodox radical Islam for a very long time. And now we're witnessing true 21st century warfare. So it doesn't come as any surprise to discover that the chairman of Goldman Sachs, Peter Sutherland, who formerly ran the UN program on global governance, who is the founder of the European Union, took a demotion a few years ago to head up the United Nations Migrant Council. This is the weapon that he admits in major interviews they plan to use to, quote, undermine national sovereignty and homogeneity. Now, you talk about racist towards Western culture and white people. This is the idea that because there are countries that are indigenous to white people, they must be undermined. And they don't argue that they should bring in, say, Northern Inuits, or that they should bring in people from Brazil, for that matter. No, or folks from Asia. They argue that you bring in the incredibly barbarous Stone Age populations that still have slavery in North Africa and the Middle East and other areas. And it was Peter Sutherland 4 years ago that advertised migrants to come to Europe and worked with Turkey to open up migration routes through Syria and other areas into Europe. Then Merkel advertises to the world that you should come to Germany. Hollande advertises, come to Germany and you'll get 3 hot meals and a roof over your head and a job. Now, it was over a year ago that we began to see local newspaper articles in Germany reporting on them throwing elderly Germans out of their homes in Section 8 housing and moving the invaders in, 80% of which are military-age men. And we knew, following the UN program, this was next. France wants members of the public to take in immigrants as official centers can't cope. They have hundreds of these centers and are building more. But because they're advertising for millions more to come, 5 million have already come the last 3 years, they're telling the citizens, you need to take them into your home. And now they're saying, we may even charge you tax money if you don't take them into your home, if you don't take jihadist Muslims into your home. This is the designed collapse of Europe, bringing in uncompatible, outside Sharia law, radical Wahhabists. And the same week that France announced that the French better let the invaders into their homes, the Germans came out and are meeting with leaders of German industry, even talking about tax cuts for them, but only when they hire the Muslim invaders out of North Africa or out of the Middle East or Central Asia. And Reuters and the Associated Press all report it like it's a wonderful good thing. This is social engineering in the UN's own words to bring down Europe, bringing in unskilled, in many cases diseased, Islamicists who are culturally diseased with their incredibly oppressive political and religious system. That way the governments have cheap laborers who can be clients of the state, who can then be made to be constabulary. They're already hiring them to be police chiefs, you name it, to then bully the former indigenous population into submission while the German, French, and other governments play referee over them. That's why from Sweden to Germany, the police have been ordered to cover up migrant rapes and more. The French and German governments have basically declared martial law or civil emergencies and are putting troops on the streets to suppress citizens that criticize the central government's traitorous activity. France has declared emergencies on their highways as commerce grinds to a halt. Buses are firebombed. There are robberies by the hundreds every single day because open season has been declared by the EU member states to help destroy national sovereignty. Make no mistake, this is only a beta test for the rest of the world. The UN's secret weapon is billions of desperate, starving people. The problem is most third world populations, when they come to the West, are actually happy to be part of the free market system and don't want to burn down cities and rape women. But the EU and the UN do have over 1 billion Muslims, and many of them are ready to take action. Many of them are ready to loot, and it just so happens they're right next door. If you take away anything from this special report, understand this. We're not witnessing misguided, bleeding heart liberal policies. This is an admitted program to overthrow the West. This is an admitted program to bring in barbaric cultures that destroy the basic tenets of classical liberalism. And who better to carry it out than globalist corporate henchmen and women like Merkel and Hollande, who have the mantle of being liberals. You have been warned. And the attacks happening in Europe are only the beginning of what we're going to see here in the United States as well.